Today is picture day. The whole school hums like a small, happy city. Sneakers on pavement. The rustle of backpacks, that nervous fizz kids call excitement. A banner flutters above the doorway and parents take a step back. It's a day of neat shirts and practiced smiles. Everyone lines up, shoulders square, hair brushed, teeth ready for the click. And there, at the edge of the line, was the sun warming the bricks behind her. A little girl named Camellie feels something that looks a lot like butterflies, only these butterflies make her want to shrink. She hides behind a book not because she doesn't like books, but because books are safe. They let you peek out without being the whole picture. Her eyes, wide and careful, peek over the top. Classmates grinning in rows. A teacher saying, "Smile." Tippie sits at her knees, tail tucked a little, steady as a small warm rock. From the outside, it's a tiny scene. One step forward, a small grin. To Camellie, it feels like stepping into a spotlight that might never stop shining. She doesn't like cameras, not yet. Inside her head, she rewrites the caption before anyone takes a photo. 1,000 sentences like little drafts float up. Is my smile crooked? Will they think I'm silly? Will they like this face? She edits the lines before they exist. It's a private sort of rehearsal, quieter than the playground laughter, sharper than the breeze through the trees. Every imagined headline weighs a gram heavier than it needs to. She practices being other people's idea of her, and she forgets sometimes how to practice being herself. The camera clicks. For everyone else, it's just a sound, a small, triumphant click, but for Camellie it lands like a punctuation mark. The frame freezes, her half-hidden face, caught between wanting to be invisible and wanting to belong. Laughter bubbles up behind her, and, in that frozen second, her breast tightens. A single snapshot, and suddenly 1,000 tiny judgments line up like quiet witnesses. Soft breaths, a snapshot can feel like a verdict, even if it's only one of many pages in a very long book. She walks home holding the book a little closer than usual, the strap digging into her palm. The street lamps begin to glow like small safe suns, the sky turning the soft color of used denim. Tippie trots by her side. The world keeps moving, leaves stir. A bicycle-sized past, but Camellie carries something small and heavy under her ribs. The feeling that one picture could pin her down, press a label onto the soft, complicated thing that is her. It's surprising how heavy a tiny worry can be. Then, under a slow rising moon, the world seems to decide to offer her a different kind of night. A narrow path appears between hedges not on the map, but glowing with tiny, curious motes, like someone scattered specks of starlight across the ground. Camellie pauses. Tippie noses forward with the gentle confidence of a companion who thinks the ordinary world might have extraordinary corners. Soft, curious, sometimes the world gives a small surprise when you least expect it. She follows because Tippie is at her side. The path is low and narrow. Puddles mirror the sky and her feet. Walking this way feels like walking through a story. Someone is whispering aloud a tale that belongs only to her and the dog at her heel. The moon lights a thin rim around her shoulders. For the first time in a while, she notices the way the world listens when she moves instead of fixating on how others might look back. Soft, it's small, it's everything. At the end of the path, the world holds its breath. A glassy lake opens like the surface of a held mirror, still as if waiting. Moonlight pours silver across it, and reeds bow like a kind audience. The water's skin is flat and perfect, beautiful in a way that makes your breath catch. Camellie leans forward, Tippie by her side. This place feels like a secret that is also a question. What do you see when you look? The surface begins to breathe. Reflections emerge. Dozens of tiny Camellies float like lanterns, smaller ones, larger ones. Faces stretched into odd smiles. Faces folded into frowns. Each reflection seems to carry a different story. A what if, a regret, a praise. They ripple and whisper without mouths, and the lake becomes a chorus of possible versions of her. At first, it's strangely beautiful. Then it becomes overwhelming, a garden of mirrors where every pass leads to another face. It is a place that shows possibilities and at once. All the ways she worries she might not measure up. The reflections fracture. Some stretch like taffy, others splinter into pieces that do not fit back together. Jagged words rise from the water in pale script. What if? Wrong smile. You'll be judged, curling like smoke and smoldering with a cold light. Camellie's chest tightens. Every fragment seems intent on convincing her that one of those faces is a true one. This lake can show her everything she fears. It can make doubt look like a chorus. It's scary, it's loud, and yet, even here, something small and steady waits at her side. If the lake chose gentleness, the reflections would float like memory flakes, small, soft, each one breathing a quiet opinion. The words would be translucent, like silver mist. Not enough, too small. What if? They drift upward and fade, never quite sticking. Camellie could watch them without being dragged under. Sometimes fear is a murmur rather than a shout, and that murmur can be heard without being obeyed. Or the words might turn themselves into something else, tiny letters curling into golden butterflies, lifting into the night and scattering like warm sparks. They transform as they rise. What if becomes a mote of light that dances away. It's a small, quiet miracle. Fear becomes something that can be watched dissolve. Not all versions of the night are cruel. Some are kind enough to teach how to let go. For a moment, she cannot move. Her hands find the strap of her book and grip it like a lifeline. The reflections swirl and call. The lake seems to want her attention, all of it. Her breath is small and shallow. It's the kind of stillness that feels like being held underwater, and yet it is only a breath away from the first step. Tippie tugs at her sleeve with the reliable insistence of a friend who says, "I'm here." That tug is a gentle beginning of courage. The dog nudges again, warm and patient. He isn't loud. He doesn't bark a plan. He puts a paw close and leans his head in a way that says, "I believe in you," for 2 heartbeats longer than you believe in yourself. It's a small thing, but small things are often the truest. Camellie feels a nudge under her palm and something unfurls, a tiny permission to try. Companionship is that quiet force that makes the first, scary step possible. She takes off a shoe, one careful motion at a time. Her toe touches the water and the surface gives a small, golden ripple where the true reflection waits. It's a brave, almost ordinary act. A foot into the shallows. Nothing heroic and everything heroic all at once. She braces, she breathes. She meets a face that looks back with calm eyes. The act of stepping is strangely simple. It is practice in choosing a self. The ripples run outward like a whispered apology. Where there were 1,000 claims and images, the water smooths them into motion and carries them away. Fractured faces blur, jagged words lose their edges, and warmth gathers around the steady reflection left in the center. The world breathes with her. The noise scatters. The lake answers with a small, clean sound like a bell that marks the end of a lesson. She is not perfect. She is not pinned by 1,000 possibilities either. She is here. Only one face remains, simple, unadorned, kind. Not the smallest, not the grandest, just a Camellie who looks back with an honest, quiet smile. The reflection wears no labels and no borrowed poses. For the first time, her eyes meet her own in the water and something like recognition passes between them. She sees herself as a person who can choose how to be seen, not someone defined by every passing opinion. She cups her hands like a promise, as if protecting that steady face from the wind. Tippie leans in, shoulder warm against hers. She does not erase the other reflections. They were a part of the lake, but she chooses which reflection to carry home. That choice is ordinary and immense. You cannot control every mirror, but you can decide which reflection you let live in your pocket. Today, he keeps the one that feels like truth. The path back is the same path, and yet different. The motes trail behind like breadcrumbs of light, warm and a little brighter than before. She walks more quietly, with a smaller, steadier smile, and Tippie walks at her side, proud in the way dogs are proud when their humans learn a small but important thing. The moon looks on like an old friend. The world tastes a little sweeter on the return trip, not because everything changed, but because something inside her did. Morning comes and the day begins again. The same bricks, the same banner, the same row of faces. There is a jitter at the edge of her stomach. That's normal. She breathes in and out, arms loose around her satchel. This is her tiny trial, to stand in the line, let the world click a picture, and feel the ground beneath her feet. Courage is rarely dramatic. It's a small, steady choice to show up. She stands in the middle this time. Her shoulders relax like a sigh. Her smile arrives in its own time, honest, a little shy, and completely hers. Tippie sits at her feet if the rules allow, tail wagging a little as if to say, "See?" The camera clicks, and the moment feels lighter than she expected. Laughter ripples around her, soft and real. She didn't let the picture decide who she was. She decided to be present in it. Later, walking home with the printed photo tucked inside her satchel, she pulls it out and looks. The face in the picture is smiling, not perfect, not posed, simply true. She tucks it back in and feels the quiet knowledge settle. You are more than every mirror, more than every passing snapshot or passing opinion. Your worth is not decided by a flash. It is chosen, shaped, and kept by you. Not every mirror decides who you are, you do.